Hi guys, Vechs here. Welcome back to Building Super Hostile Online. I just wanted to check in with you and show you what I was working on today. And that was the shops, and more specifically though, not just the shops, but something very important, and that is unlocking a plot of land by spending experience. And I had no idea how to do that. I basically had to have a crash course in command blocks today, and I've actually learned quite a bit. You can even see, what's going on? The command blocks, they're different colors. I didn't even know command blocks could be different colors. Oh my god, what's happening? I'm confused and scared. All the command blocks are pointing a certain way, and they're all lined up, and their fancy stuff is going on. That's what's going on. It's fancy stuff. Get up there. So basically, let's before we get to that, let's just go check on the shops real quick. So I even struggled with I got to go into a mode 1. Here's the command for this. Just something simple like this, like giving the player a named item, is it's /give @p Minecraft : wooden _ pressure _ plate 20 left curly bracer display : left curly bracer name : quote fuel wafer comma lore : left bracket a chunk of wooden scrap suitable for use as fuel period bracket curly bracer. Yeah. So that was just to get in a named item, and it ends up spitting out this right here, a fuel wafer, a chunk of wood, a chunk of wooden scrap suitable for use as fuel. So basically, let's talk about my philosophy real quick on the economy and experience gains and resource gains in Super Hostile Online. The best way I can explain it is when you're cooking a steak, you can cook a steak a little more if you need to. You can always cook it a little bit more. But if you overcook a steak, there is no way to uncook it. You are screwed. And with Super Hostile Online, if I make the game, if at launch, if it takes too long to get experience, if it takes too long to gain resources, that is very easy for me to fix. That's super simple. I just increase loot drops, or I go fiddle with the prices at the shops. No problem, no big deal, easy fix. If at the launch of Super Hostile Online, I have the reverse issue where instead of being too grindy, it's too fast. People get too many resources and items too quickly. How do I fix that? Serious question. How do I fix it? You're running a server and people have gotten to a gear level that is way too high, and or they've gotten items that maybe they weren't supposed to get as quickly, and a lot of content has been unlocked and conquered a lot faster than you intended. Like, how do you fix that? You can't fix that. What do? Do you just delete everybody's character data and restart the server and then be like, no, hold on, give me a second. I'm just deleting all your stuff. All your progress is gone. We got to restart. You can't do, I mean, I guess you could do that, but you'd be kind of a dick, right? So in my mind, that's just a non-option. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And so I will err on the side of making the game, I will err on the side of caution and on the side of making it too difficult, because I can always make it easier later. It's very simple for me to make it easy on you when it's hard, but if it was too easy, I can't go back in time and make your past experiences harder for you. It's just not physically possible to do that. So yeah, I guess I could have stopped that with the steak analogy. Like, you cannot uncook an overdone steak. Like, you can always cook it more, but I mean, that's the simplest way to put it that a lot of people can probably relate to, assuming you're cooking steak, which you probably are, because steak is delicious. What if you're vegan, though? Okay, so you've got your, like, vegan chili, which is made of, like, quinoa and mushroom and something else, and you're cooking it, and if you cook it too much, you're screwed, but you can always cook it more. So you cannot uncook a vegan mushroom steak. There. All right, I think I covered all social groups there. Sweet. I can move on. So that's my thoughts on that. Fuel level. So this is just a simple shop, similar to the other one, and it lets you buy, if you had any XP. So you go up and you buy some fuel, and it's a fuel shop. You can buy fuel. And just as a PSA, 2 of these will cook 3 items. So basically you pay 1 level to cook 3 items. And this is assuming you cannot find things to use as fuel out in the wild, and you have to buy fuel in town. I'd imagine like the banking experience, like if I'm playing, and I will be playing Super Hostile Online as a normal player along with you guys, I wouldn't use banked experience unless I knew I was going to die. Pretty much. Like this would be a kind of a last resort thing, because it's not very efficient, and it's not supposed to be efficient. It's supposed to be kind of crappy for as far as efficiency goes, because I want dying in this world to matter, and I want you to try to avoid dying. I don't want you to just like, oh, I'm starving, I'm gonna just let myself starve to death, and I'll refill my hunger that way. Haha. I mean, if you've got a decent amount of XP levels, suddenly you can't really do that. Like, all your levels will go away. If I was using like gold bars or whatever as currency, you could just stick them all in a chest and die, and then you're fully healed and fully fooded up, and you can go and get your gold back out the chest. But if I'm using the experience levels, you can't really do that. It doesn't work. Alright, so anyway, on to the star of the show today. So here's my test bed. This is the test. I probably have changed the command since then. Let me go hop back into game mode 1, create a mode. So here's the command to judge whether or not the player's got the levels to begin with. So it's going to take 40 levels from a player who is close to the object and has a level minimum, LM here, of 40. And then it's going to be like, yeah, you're buying a house. Great. And then here's the actual command. This is the test command for me to just test it. It was a bit confusing to try to visualize the coordinates. Look at this string of just numbers here. But all that ends up being the coordinates. And when you put that all together, that actually took me a while to figure out on my own. But you'll notice what's going on here. So you have the first command block here, and it's unconditional, and it needs redstone. But that actually changes. Look at that. I basically have no experience with, but that changes the texture there. And I think that doesn't actually change the appearance. But so you can kind of tell at a glance the color and the shape of the arrow. What have I learned today that I did not know before? 1. Command blocks can be different colors, and those colors denote different forms of activity. 2. Command blocks have arrows. I've never paid attention to it. And 3. The command block arrows matter. It matters which way they are facing. They have directional activity that is dependent upon these arrows. What else? And I've learned about always active command blocks. Like, this thing does not need redstone to act. And I've learned about chaining command blocks, which go down a chain, and conditional and unconditional command blocks. I've learned about all this stuff that I had never paid attention to before. And so, yeah. So I actually don't think these two are activated by the redstone, but I think this would actually work if I do this and then do this. Now I do believe if I go into game mode 0, I don't need to be in game mode 0, but /xb 120L to Vechs. If I go up here and activate this, it should activate properly now without even needing to run redstone down those command blocks. Yeah, there it is. So there's the test. It fills with glowstone. And it took the 40 levels from me and then spat glowstone into the world. So here's an example of a property. It's a copy of one of the ones up there. And so it's completely filled with barriers up to 20 blocks high. And so the property is basically completely blocked up with barrier, and you can't come in here and squat on it. So you need to unlock the property in order to use it. So how do you do that? Well, you buy it. How much does it cost? Well, it costs 40 levels. So buy the property is 40 levels. So let's say you come in here and negative. Let's just test this. So I want to buy the property. Give it to me. Give me the property. No! Screw you! You don't have the levels for it. You don't get it. So that's working as intended. So let's get some levels here. So now we've finally saved up enough. Maybe a friend also helped me out and threw XP bottles at me to help me get up to 40. And we're going to be roommates together, and we're going to have a house in the residential district, and it's going to be awesome. And we're gonna pool our resources and build build out here. It's going to be great. So buy property, 40 levels. Here we go. Click. Oh, click. Vechs is buying a property. Congrats! Clearing property of barriers. And there we go. And now the whole property has all the barriers removed. You can jump in, come around here. You can tear up the floor and replace it with something that else you might like. I'm trying to think of a policy on the edges of the property. And feel free to input there what you think the rules regarding that should be. Because, like, let's say my neighbor's over there, and one rule is that you're not going to be allowed to have built things that hang over the property, because it'll just bug your neighbor. Unless you both just agree to not care, then I guess it's not a huge deal. Except for the other people who might have their view ruined, like they're looking their views between your two houses here, and you block it up with something. So even then, it's not just about these two houses here; it's about the other people around you. So you have to give other people some consideration, which you should be doing anyway, because you're a nice person and you're thoughtful of other people, right? Yes. So pretty much gonna say, like, no stuff hanging out over your property line. As far as a height, there will be a height ceiling. Like, you can't just make something up to the sky. That'd look a little silly. So, I mean, there's going to be an invisible barrier you'll eventually run into if you build too high. It's probably going to be up around that 30 or 40 block limit. Something around there, maybe. But yeah. So, I mean, could you... Now, the funny thing is, like, it's your house and your property. You can pretty much do just about whatever you want with it. You could put a farm on it if you can find the resources to build a farm in the first place, which you might not be able to. And that would be a big accomplishment if you could, I guess. But you could build, like... I think it'd be kind of funny if you built an apartment building with your room at the top, and then you have like maybe 4 or 6 spare rooms, and you actually rent them out to people who have to give you like XP bottles per week as rent. And if they don't, you just kick them out. Which you can do if you wanted to do that. That's fine with me. It's It's your land. You can build whatever you want on it, as long as it's not like offensive or like makes the server lag or anything. You can, you can build anything within reason, I guess, on your property. I don't care. Now, as far as like somebody, I think I will go with some attendance requirements, informally placed. Like if you just don't show up for a month without telling anyone, and like you've bought a lot, and when you buy a lot, you do need to put a sign, saying it's like yours. Maybe tear the sign off the before you buy it. Before you push the button, tear the sign off to keep the sign so you can use it. But if you don't log on and you just basically quit playing, and it goes for long enough, I would probably send you a message on Patreon and be like, "Hey, are you still playing?" And if it goes for like a week or two and I don't hear anything back from you, then you might auction off. Basically, have a public auction where people bid some resource to buy the property, just to make sure that there's all properties are either up for sale or to anyone who wants them, or are currently being used by somebody actively playing. But I mean, if you go on vacation or something and don't play Minecraft for a few months, just you can message me, and the easiest thing to do would be to put up a sign out front saying you're on vacation, or just saying you won't be online for X amount of time. So what else is... That's pretty much what I've done today. The lion's share of my time today was spent building this command block system that takes your levels and then clears the property for you. So this system can be implemented for just about any property you'd want to buy, not just houses, but also there may be barrier blocks, and I think I can make it find and replace barrier blocks. So I could have a two-stage system that if there's like 4 or maybe 5 walls, including the ceiling, of barrier blocks, like I could make a guild hall that's pre-constructed and pretty expensive, but it's pre-made for you. You don't have to build anything, or at least most of it's built for you. You can come in and like fill in and decorate it, or tear it down if you wanted to and redecorate it, whatever you want to do. So you could hit the button and it buys it, and the first command block strips away the barriers, and then another stage of command blocks will replace this command block setup with air, so it removes the barriers, and then the command blocks delete themselves out of the world. And then you own a nice shiny new guild hall that's all, or maybe a mansion or something. Any kind of building you can imagine I can make for you to buy and have for yourself and your friends. And yeah, and I've got a way to like lock it from the public until it's actually purchased. So that's pretty cool. Was thinking of the idea. Been playing Stardew Valley. One of my mods suggested to me the community center from Stardew Valley. Like you turn in resources, and if you turn in enough, it's called a bundle. If you turn in a bundle and complete it, like for example, like just to take one directly off of Stardew Valley, fishing, like one of every fish. Like if you collect one of every fish in the game and turn it in, then something happens. Like maybe a new shortcut to a fishing area in a dungeon is created in town, for example. So the whole server now gets to enjoy this new shortcut that takes them to a nice fishing area by doing that. So that's something the community could, or depending on the amount of players, it could be 5 of each type of fish in the game, for example. And if you can complete all that, then and turn it into me, then I can go make you something cool as a reward. So that's the kind of thing. Like, it's not just about killing bosses. It can also be, because Super Hostile is about not just clearing a dungeon, but it's also about a game about exploring and finding stuff. And you take something from a dungeon and you go back and stick it on a monument. Monument? Oh, Jesus. Monument. Me, I'm speak good English. A monument. And then you win. Or in the case of Super Hostile Online, you don't win because there's no end to it, but you get something cool. So there's that idea. So anyway, let me know what you think about property boundaries and how strictly or non-strictly they should be enforced. If you have any thoughts on that. Like, just in those situations, it's usually best to imagine yourself as having a house next to somebody and that person is doing something you find a bit annoying. And just like, how far would you want them to be able to go in like building something obnoxious out, like, you know, beside your house? And then you need to think about it as yourself. Like, if you had a cool idea for a build, but you needed to go like one block out to squeeze something in that you absolutely had to have, but your neighbor didn't want you to, like, how would you feel about it? So think about those two things and weigh it. But yeah, I think that's it for today. Mostly, there's no big, giant, impressive build, I guess, to show you for this video. It's mostly just this stupid, this little tiny 4-block strip of command blocks. I had to get a crash course, command block history. Crash course. I needed John Green to come teach me about command blocks in Minecraft. That would be freaking awesome, actually. Yeah. John Green is the host of Crash Course World History on YouTube, and if you've never seen it, you should probably check it out. It's pretty cool. Crash Course World History. But anyway, yep, that's it for today. I'll see you guys next video. Until then, as always, take it easy.